Thank you for being here today. I am thrilled to have you with me, and we are going to dig right into it because I'm going to turn this music off. Turning the music off for now. Let me know that you're here. If you're here live, please put live in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, please put replay in the comments. I love to know who's joining us. And we are here today for meaning and purpose in our work. And you do not have to wait weeks, months, years to find meaning in your work. And meaning is so important. It is what helps keep us motivated and inspired about our work. And excuse me, I'm having a little bit of allergies today. We've got some weather changing here in Houston. And so excuse me, but it is so important for us to have meaning. It helps us have purpose in our days. It helps us to be motivated and inspired. It helps us to see solutions to problems and to help us feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. And you can start today to feel more meaning in your work. If you're working a corporate job, if you work for a small business, if you are a mom and a home caregiver, if you are an entrepreneur and you're working for yourself, starting today, I want you to have more of a sense of meaning and purpose in your work. And I'm going to tell you exactly how. So let me just give you a very brief overview of what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to go quickly. And if you have any questions, please put those in the chat and I will address them at the end or, as they come up if I can. So this is just a little bit about me. I have been an entrepreneur for the last 10 years. Before that, I spent over 20 years in corporate jobs working for global organizations. And we had certainly our share of opportunities and challenges and successes, and also, politics and chaos and change, all of the things that can be frustrating. So I understand whatever it is that you do for your work today. If you're retired and you're doing volunteer work, whatever it is, I understand. I understand the challenges that can come along with ambitious goals and personalities and corporate dynamics and organizational dynamics and just change, which causes so much frustration and stress for so many of us, including many of my clients. And I have certainly had that experience myself. So today, let's talk a little bit about why it's so hard. And I believe that it is becoming even more difficult as time goes on to find meaning and purpose in our work, no matter what our work is. And then I'll be going through 3 of my best tips that I've seen have success with my clients over decades of helping professionals find meaning and purpose in their work and have the successful careers that they want to have. So I'll go through those tips and then we're going to do some action planning today because I want you to leave today after the next 45 minutes with a very practical goal, strategy and plan for starting today, this afternoon, finding more meaning and purpose in your work. Before we jump into that, as you're watching this, please share with me, what is it that you do for your work? What is your role? You can share with me your title, your industry, your role. If you're a manager, if you work in manufacturing, if you have a role in STEM, if you are an individual contributor, if you are an expert in your field, go ahead and share with me what industry you're in, what your job title is, whatever it is that you feel comfortable sharing with me in the comments. I appreciate it. So let's dive into item number 1 here. Why is it so hard to find meaning and purpose in our roles today? The workforce is changing quite a bit. And in fact, I think that the degree to which we are seeing change in our corporate cultures, in expectations of management and leadership is just accelerating. So it's becoming more difficult, I think, to find meaning and purpose in our work and in our day-to-day environments. Like I say, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a manager, you're a leader yourself, we tend more and more, what I'm seeing in working with my clients and my client companies, is that people are overwhelmed. There's just so much to do, and the expectations on each of us is can be very overwhelming. There's just are such high expectations in terms of volume and quality in our work today. There's also an increasing transaction orientation. There's less people are getting more frustrated, not feeling a sense of culture or a sense of wholeness, and having a connection to something bigger, some bigger goals. Work is tending to become more and more transactional, which means more task focused, more focus on just getting things done. If you've read my book, Feminine Emergence, you know that that falls into the category of masculine energy, and our companies tend to have a very masculine energy orientation around getting things done instead of a broader focus. And that's not bad. I like, hey, I like my to-do lists. I like checking boxes and getting things done. And if you do too, give me a thumbs up in the comments if that kind of lights your fire. It does me. I like getting things done, but we need balance. We need balance with also a focus on a bigger picture. And then the third item I'm seeing is, we're all still struggling with that virtual work environment because it separates us. It helps us to feel more isolated, which is not necessarily good. And it undermines our ability to build relationships at work, which for so many years, for so many of us, was what really gave work meaning for us, was the opportunity to build relationships, support others, enjoy the support of others in our own work, excuse me, and just feel that sense of connection to people, and connection to something that is broader than ourselves and is broader than what we can accomplish all by ourselves. So, that distance, that virtual work environment can be very challenging and help undermine our ability to find meaning and purpose in our work. Those are the three things I really see surfacing today more and more that tend to undermine the sense of meaning and purpose for my clients and the people that I work with. If there's something else that is really undermining your sense of purpose and meaning in your work, I'd love to hear about it. Just please share that with me, either in a private message or in the comments if you're comfortable sharing it that way. So let's go into section number 2, my 3 tips for finding meaning in your job starting today. And these are very actionable tips. And I have an action plan for you that I'd like for you to download. I've got it here in my notes. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to have to share this in the notes afterwards because the technology that I'm using today doesn't let me post comments myself. I can see your comments, but I can't. But I'm going to, so please check back or, register in the registration link. And I'm happy to send you this link on the worksheet that you'll be able to down. In fact, let me just stop the share right now. I'm just going to go ahead and put something right here. Yeah. Oh, here we go. I'm just changing my slide on the fly here so that you can see the link. And now that link is actually in the slide that you can see on the screen. So if you can just copy and paste that into please copy and paste that into your website application that you have open today, and that will open up immediately for your ready access, the worksheet that we're going to be using in just about 10 minutes to help you develop a plan for finding more meaning and purpose in your work today. So that is the link right there. So go ahead and connect to that and download that worksheet because we're going to be using it in just a minute. So let's dig into my 3 top tips, things you can start today to help you find more meaning and purpose in your work. Number 1, build relationships. I want you to start building relationships at work. Get away from that transactional format in your work. There are some nice ways to do this I'm going to go through, But, in the end of the day, whenever you leave the job that you're doing today, whenever you look back on your life, including your career, it's going to be the relationships and how you helped people and how had the opportunity to collaborate with people and get to know people that you are going to reflect back on fondly. And it will enrich your work life so much starting immediately. So, how are you going to do this? I mean, it's easy to say build relationships, but how do you do that? Well, just start simply. Meet for coffee or lunch. Go ahead and take 10 minutes today to go ahead and schedule a coffee or a lunch next week or even tomorrow. Meet people for breakfast. In this virtual work environment, you don't have to go to the office. You can meet somebody for breakfast or for coffee. You can just take 30 minutes or 45 minutes and get to know someone a little bit. Ask them what they're working on. Ask them what they like to do outside of the office. Ask them if they have family. Who is their family? Where are they? And just get to know people a little bit and let people get to know you. Another easy way to do this is go to meetings early. It doesn't matter if the meeting is virtual or in person. Show up 5 minutes early and chat with people a little bit before the meeting starts. Get to know them. Have personal and professional interactions in this little extra time that you have before and after meetings. It's not just before the meeting, also after the meeting. Again, ask about personal interests, current projects, look for ways to help. See if you can volunteer to help someone. Does your company or the organization that you're working for right now, do they have extracurricular activities? Do they participate in community events? Do they have athletic teams, cycling teams, softball teams? Do they volunteer in the community at a local school or at a not-for-profit? Are there opportunities for you to volunteer? In my career and in getting to know people that I've worked with, these are some of the richest opportunities to help you build relationships at work, which can add so much value and meaning to your career starting today. You can take some action here just on this list. Take 10 minutes this afternoon and invest in one of these action items to help building relationships for yourself at work. Tip number 2, connect small tasks to broader goals. As I said, so a lot of the workplace has become more isolated and more transactional. So what that means is a lot of times we are working alone on a very specific task. Maybe, sometimes I'm, sitting and developing a PowerPoint presentation or writing an email or writing a newsletter. And that can feel like a not very motivating or inspiring task. So it takes some effort for us to think about those tasks and connect them to broader goals. Maybe you've heard the story about the 3 bricklayers building the cathedral, and they each looked at the job differently. The first bricklayer thought of his job as laying bricks. I lay one brick after another. I just keep laying bricks. All afternoon, I lay bricks. That's what I do. And the second bricklayer thinks I provide for my family. I am laying bricks. I'm helping to build this building. I'm building this wall. And in doing that, I am providing for myself and my family. The third bricklayer is laying his bricks, doing a good job, building this wall of the building and thinking, I'm laying these bricks, I'm providing for my family and for myself, and I'm also building a cathedral to God. So the third bricklayer connected, and the second and third bricklayer connected to bigger goals, really seeing a broader vision for their work, but then also the third bricklayer expanded that vision much more broadly, which connected him to meaning and purpose in a broader way than either of the other two. So think about how you can connect your tasks, your specific tasks, to broader personal goals, company goals, maybe your career goals, maybe an industry goal. Not long ago, I was one of my clients was an environmental engineer. I've also worked with many chemical engineers, and they are motivated and inspired when they they can connect their work to broader industry trends and goals and aspirations. And that helps them to find meaning and purpose. So think about how you can connect your specific tasks to broader personal, company, and maybe even industry goals. One of the things I do is I like to think about helping my clients expand their careers as quickly as possible to accelerate their success and help as many people as possible do well in their careers and make as much money as quickly as possible as they can. And I also think about the companies that I support with team building workshops and professional development workshops. I like to think about them being as successful as they can be, achieving their business goals so that there's more commerce and more in their communities and in their industries, which helps me be excited about my tasks. And so that is connecting to a bigger goal. The third tip is taking breaks, because how are we going to get all this done? How are we going to focus on our broader goals and take time to build relationships and plan? Remember to take at least a 5-minute break each hour. That is so important for helping us to not just stay focused externally, but also to make time for some internal focus. If you're familiar with my book, Feminine Emergence, you know that I've done research on how important it is to make sure that we stay balanced in our external as well as our internal focus, and taking these breaks, getting up, getting away from the desk, getting away from the task, getting our blood circulating, getting our oxygen circulating. That is so important for us. And it helps us to have the time to make that internal focus and to make some plans that are tied to our priorities. So, how are we going to take these breaks? Well, I encourage my clients to set a timer. I personally really like the timer on my Apple phone. I just set it for every 40 to 45 minutes or 50 minutes. I also like this gadget, and I'll put a link to it. I'm not an affiliate. I like this, and I forget what this is called, but I'll put the link to it. I use this a lot when I'm at my desk, and it's easy to set for 40 minutes, and then I take a break, I move around, I pretend that my chair has an eject button so that I can get away from what I'm doing, move, breathe, maybe visit with others and reconnect to my goals, which of course is synergistic with what we've been talking about in the first two tips, building relationships and connecting with our larger goals. There's a link here to the worksheet. We're going to be moving into our worksheet next. So please just go ahead and swipe that link and put it in your web browser, and it'll take you straight to that worksheet. You don't need your email address or anything. You just open up that worksheet, and then you'll be able to type right into the worksheet, because now we're going to start our action planning. That step 3 for today is our action planning. So get that worksheet, and when you open the worksheet, and this is not going to take long, but I want you to have practical tips and actions ready to go right away for this afternoon, because you're going to start building more meaning and purpose into your work right away. And when you open that worksheet, here's the first 3 pages you're going to see, and then I think there's another 3 pages, but you've got a cover page, you've got a little bit of an introduction, and I want you to focus on this third page right here. This third page, you can type right into it from your phone or your computer if you like, but we're going to set an action plan right now. And this is where it's going to get really real, and we're going to put pedal to the metal. Whoops. So we are, and what you're going to do first is fill in the date. It's at the top of that third page, because that gives you accountability. I want you to look back at this a couple days from now, maybe a week from now, and think about your success in how you've gotten this done. And there is the link again. If you are watching this on replay, the link is in the comments. So you're just going to be able to click on that and go straight, open up that email. That worksheet. So I want you to focus on one tip. We've talked about 3 tips today. We talked about building relationships. We talked about focusing and aligning our tasks with broader goals, meaningful goals, and taking breaks. I want you to just pick one of those 3. We don't want overwhelm. We don't need more overwhelm. We already have enough overwhelm. So just pick one. Say, for example, and I'll just walk through a scenario, you're going to focus on building relationships. Next, I want you to identify one step you can take today to building relationships. Maybe you can Go to a meeting early and network with people while you're there. Get to know some people. Maybe you can put in your calendar that next week you're going to meet someone for lunch, and you can write that person an email and say, "Hey, let's meet for lunch." Just because you're working virtually doesn't mean you can't meet people for lunch, dinner, breakfast, coffee. You can meet for coffee for 30 minutes and get to know someone, catch up, hear about what they're working on, hear about how their hobbies are going or what their hobbies are. So that's an example, excuse me, of one thing you can do to help yourself build relationships. That one step that you can take. Now, let's say you're going to work on connecting tasks to a big goal. That one step that you take could be identifying that big goal. Maybe it's a career goal, maybe it's an industry goal, or a performance goal that you have in your performance plan for this year. Maybe it's a department goal or a company goal that you want to connect your tasks to. So identify that big goal that you're going to identify at least some of your tasks to, your specific tasks, and that will help you have more motivation and inspiration as you work on those tasks. If you're going to take breaks, if that's the tip you're going to focus on starting today, start setting a timer. Figure out how long you are going to work before you take your breaks. You might be familiar with the Pomodoro method. This is a method that people use for productivity and to help them stay focused on their work. It has to do with setting timers for your work, for work intervals and short breaks, and then also longer breaks. You may want to take your action item that you're going to research the Pomodoro method and learn more about it. Then maybe you're going to take one action that you're going to test out a 20-minute work interval with a 10-minute break work interval, or a 3-minute break interval. What is your one action item that you're going to take today? Now, next, we're going to identify a barrier. Why are we going to identify a barrier? Actually, barriers, and I was just listening to an expert yesterday talking about how barriers and challenges can help keep us motivated. Because a lot of times, what we found is that when people set goals, they feel relaxed and relieved about having set those goals, because setting goals is an accomplishment in and of itself. So now, to make sure that we stay engaged and motivated and that we feel excited and inspired by the goal, it's important that we also understand there are going to be challenges and that we set a strategy for overcoming those challenges. So, what are your challenges? Challenges, examples could be, in case you'd like a little grist for the mill, challenges can be, I don't feel like it today. I'm not motivated. Oh, something came up now and I'm not going to be able to do that. So, interruptions or unexpected responsibilities. What else? Lack of time. I don't have time for this now. I wanted to have lunch with Susan and I don't have time now. Go ahead and decide now how you are going to overcome those barriers. Decide that you are going to hold yourself accountable. Plan a reward for yourself. That's a great way to hold yourself accountable, because then if you don't overcome the barrier, you don't get the reward. Maybe plan that you're going to share your goal with somebody, and that will help you stay motivated to achieve your goal. Set yourself a reminder or send yourself an email, schedule an email for yourself to check on yourself 3 days from now to see if you've achieved your goal. There are lots of ways to keep yourself motivated and inspired so that you overcome those barriers that are going to show up. They're not maybe going to show up, they are going to show up. So plan now for overcoming those barriers. And remember, your career and your sense of purpose and meaning really needs to be designed by you. It's up to you to set that as a priority. As Stephen Covey, the thought leader around success and meaning in our lives, has said, the key is not to prioritize what's already on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. So, this is another reminder of how important it is for us to go in and reflect internally on what our priorities are and what gives us meaning, and to make sure that we make time and set those as priorities in our days. So, please make building relationships, connecting specific tasks to broader goals, and making time for yourself to get these things done. Make those priorities and set them up in your schedule, starting today. And with that, I'm going to wrap. I would love to hear in a private message, an email, a text, or in any way, shape, or form, any questions or comments that you have. I'd love to hear what you liked about the presentation, what you'd like to hear more about, and any other ways that I can help you. So feel free to screen capture this slide, and so that you have the information on how to contact me. And I look forward to hearing from you. And with that, I hope you have a great day and that I see you again in the future. Thank you.